Previously on Living Outside the Box with Grace Square. Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Living Outside the Box with Grace Square. So this is like my first sit down video talking to y'all. I wanted to do a life update video and also explain to you how my Emirates Open Day interview went and what other airlines I'm interviewing for. So if you know me personally, you knew that my husband and I planned on taking this trip to Europe, and we were so excited. Like, that's all I talked about for months, and I had everything planned out. But things didn't work out the way that we planned out. I've learned that with life, you just kind of roll with the punches. And we had a bit of a kind of a family emergency that we had to tend to. So we are postponing our European vacation probably for February, Valentine's Day, which will also be our 8th year anniversary, or our wedding anniversary in April. That's if we don't do Coachella, but we'll see. So right now I'm at my parents' house, and I was completely devastated when we weren't able to go to Europe. But I do want to give a special thanks to, I doubt they'll see this, but JetBlue Airlines was amazing. Iceland Air and United. These three airlines were amazing with like crediting us and giving us credit to use for future flights instead of just canceling us like Norwegian Air. I called them and I let them know, hey, we're not going to be able to fly out of New York to Paris. Is there any way we could get a credit? And they just blatantly were like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, they didn't care at all. So that's the only L we took. And so I've been spending these 2 weeks being there for my family, and also I've been planning YouTube videos, hence Living Outside the Box with Grace Square, and also applying for airlines because I did realize I do want to be a flight attendant, and I've been wanting to be one for a long time. I just needed that extra push, and missing this trip definitely opened my eyes to realize, I want to travel. I want to make a living off of travel. So if you want to stay tuned, you'll see what other airlines I'm applying for. So 2 days ago, I went to an open day for Emirates Airlines, and it was packed, guys. I don't even know. Sorry about that noise. They're doing construction across the street. Hopefully you guys don't hear that. But back to Emirates. There were probably 1,200 women there, and everybody looked so beautiful. Everyone had their red lips on, looked completely polished. So I do want to give some feedback about open day and some tips and some advice if you are applying, because I know they're hosting open days everywhere, even in San Diego where I live, which I was like, should have done that. But I do want to give you guys some tips and advice and how I prepared for my open day. So 2 days before my open day, I took photos because they do want you to bring one headshot. So I wore what I wore to my interview, and so I took my picture on a blank wall, and I went to Kinko's. I printed that out. I also printed out my CV, or my resume. In the States, we call it resume. Everywhere else calls it CV. I think CV sounds cooler, though. So I printed that out, and I put it in a binder. I should have been more prepared and just had, everything to show you guys. So I had everything prepared. The morning of, I'm a morning person, but I also need an extra boost, so I definitely had a breakfast and I had coffee. And so the open day was for 8 a.m. Before you walk in, there was a host standing there collecting resumes, and so I showed her my resume and my photo. First sight of dropping off your resume and your photo, make sure that you are like smiling and giving it to them with two hands and just like kind of being a little bubbly. I know it's like 8 a.m. So I wore a white button up tucked into a black skirt suit with the jacket. And of course you have to wear pantyhose, which I hate. I haven't worn that since I worked at Alaska, so I was just like, ugh, I hated putting them on. And then I also had some black suede shoes, a nice little black satchel bag, and then I also had my like a folder where I had my CV and my photos in. I did see maybe like 2 or 3 people turned away when they were presenting their CV and their photo. So I'm not sure if it was because their photos were like headshots that weren't professional. I think what they're looking for is for like a professional headshot. And I know some girl had printed like a photo from Instagram. So guys, don't do that because they will turn you away at the door. I also saw, maybe because it was in the city that I applied, but they had a lot of girls like wearing club clothes. I mean, they looked gorgeous. They looked beautiful. But I don't think wearing something you would wear to the bar, to a casual dinner is appropriate for an airline interview. So with that being said, that's my tip number 1. Make sure that you are polished. Make sure that your hair is pulled back. I had my hair pulled back in a low bun. It was like one of those sock buns, so it was like not to be like a boring bun. So you could also stand out. Make sure that you're completely ironed. Tip number 2, make sure that your resume and your photo are ready and prepared and professional. So after I handed my resume, they did a measurement of you because you do have to be minimum 5'3", which is like 160 cm. I did see maybe like one person that was a little shorter than me. Guys, like I'm right at 6'3". Like I'm 6'3", right on the dot. So I was like, okay, I made it through. And then afterwards you have to, there's a line and they want you to reach 200 and I think it's 212 centimeters. So barefoot. And I was like, guys, I even took off my jacket because I'm not gonna lie, my jacket was a little snug. But I took off my jacket and I was able to reach and I'm like, okay, thank you God, I'm on to the next level. So I would say tip number 3 is like do your stretches, guys, because if you're short like me, it might be difficult to touch that because I was literally on my tippy toes. After that, you're brought into this huge room with a screen on it, and they begin to play a video about Emirates Airlines, which a lot of the stuff that they were playing, I did my own research on. So that is definitely tip number 4. Make sure you do your research. You don't have to know everything about the airline, but at least enough to sound a little educated about the airline and why you want to work for the airline. Oh yeah, I forgot to bring this up. So when you're handing over your resume to the recruiter asks you, why do you want to work for Emirates Airlines? And I do think it is very important to bring up diversity and culture, because I do believe Emirates Airlines is definitely based on that. After they play the video, it's a little awkward, but make sure that you are engaging with like your neighbor, or just get up and start talking to someone. Like step out of your comfort zone. It could be really, really uncomfortable, but when I tell you, all eyes are on you. Like everyone's watching. The recruiters are walking around. I ended up speaking to one of the recruiters after the video and just like explaining like why you're there, where you're from, just kind of making casual yet professional conversation. I did meet a girl there, and this was her 4th time applying for Emirates. She was in town. She was from Milan, but she's gone all over to Europe for the open days, and she was in town. She was like, I might as well swing by and see. And the funny thing is, the day we were going to be in Paris was Emirates was going to have an open day there too. And I always entertained the idea of like doing that. And people actually do it. Guys, it's like a completely competitive industry. And she was like, yeah, you know, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying until I get it. And I just loved seeing that in her, you know, like she knew what she wanted and she kept pushing for it. And it's so easy to make conversations with people there, other applicants, because you all already have something in common. Like you love to travel, you want to be a flight attendant. So engaging in conversation with strangers at Emirates Open Day isn't hard. Tip number 5 is to make sure that you are completely open and listening to everything that's being asked, listening to your potential peers, what they have to say as well. So we were placed in groups for interviews, and the recruiter was asking us questions and scenarios to where you and your group do speak. Everyone speaks, and you're supposed to answer as a group. So the whole time that you're deciding what to do, the recruiter is still there. So make sure that you are listening to what your peers are saying, also participating in the conversation, and not just sitting back and letting the group decide for you. But also don't be too pushy and be open to what everyone else in the group has to say. So after the group interview, we're all just waiting, and they bring out a sheet, and if your name's on there, you move on to the next level, and if your name's not on there, they ask you to leave. So I'm looking for my name, and I don't see my name. But it's okay, guys. Like, I figured why I didn't get it. I don't think it was my personality. I don't think that it wasn't that I wasn't prepared for it. I do think Emirates is looking for a younger crew. I'm 32 years old. I know I look young. A lot of the girls were gassing me up and saying, I thought you were like 25. Like, thank you. I'm very curvy. I don't think Emirates is looking for that fit for their brand. I don't take it personal because I love who I am. I love my curves. I love how I look. I'm very confident in my personality. So I just know that Emirates is not for me. Would I try again? Potentially, yes. It doesn't hurt to give things another shot. I would love to work in Dubai and travel the places where Emirates travels. But then I was thinking again about how much I would miss my husband, my dog, my family, my friends. Like, I would be in Dubai and everyone is here. Emirates does not have like the normal flight benefits to where my husband can hop on a plane and visit me on weekends. And I know for their apartments, you can't really have visitors. So I don't think, just as much as I don't think I would fit into Emirates lifestyle, I don't think Emirates would fit into my lifestyle. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. I can go more to details if you are applying for this job and you have more questions. I'm so open to helping. Also, guys, I am applying for Delta and United. So if you want to follow me with those airlines, just stay posted. Make sure you subscribe and turn the notification. I will do more videos on following my story with airlines and pretty much following my story on trying to be a flight attendant. So I did submit my video interviews for Delta and United. I haven't heard back from them yet. I do know that this is a long process. Like, I'm on a Facebook group, and people that applied in July are just getting their face-to-face interviews or just hearing back. So this is definitely testing my patience. Even with Emirates, I knew one girl said that her friend did an open day back in February and is just heading to Dubai. That's almost a year. So I know that in order to become a flight attendant, you have to be very patient with yourself. So I guess that's my final tip. Continue to be patient, to be confident, and realize what's supposed to happen for you will happen for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions again about Emirates Open Day or also the United and Delta video interview process, feel free to message me. Give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can follow me on my journey. Later. Next time on Living Outside the Box with Grace Square. I think I had Skittles. You look like you love Skittles.
It's hip to be square.